Hi everyone, welcome back to round 7. Okay, so a quick look at what's happened in the previous turns. Okay, so Tommy, round 6, infantry, artillery, bomber and tank. So he's occasionally placing bombers into west. Yeah, I think he's slowly reinforcing his fleet in the Pacific. It's not a problem as of yet, but it could become a problem potentially if I don't, keep an eye on it. So I'm going to keep watching how the strength compared to mine and make sure we don't fall behind. But as long as it's weaker, then I'm not really too concerned. I think I'm trying not to let this fleet distract me from my goal at the moment, which is obviously just pressuring Russia, because attacking this, going for this, pushing them out of the way is going to obviously mean just diverting troops away from what I want to be doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I suppose actually, just thinking about it, potentially I could still push it out of the way, whilst also still ferrying in troops from Japan, because I don't really need the defensive fleet here to protect the transports if nothing's in range to attack them. Because potentially I could just ship things in. I was just checking that this bomber here is not in range, although I suppose the fighters, 1, 2, 3, yeah, that's the issue. I think if the fighters decide to have a go, then they could take something out. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, we'll leave it. Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I won't let myself get distracted by this now. If he takes the Philippines, I've still got more than enough nearby to counter that. Obviously, these 4 bombers they're placed in such a way where they can still bombard Russia, but also help me out in the Pacific if I need them to, because they're on the coastline here. So 1 straight into the sea here, 2, 3. They've got a lot of options. They've got landing zones in these areas as well. What's this? Caroline Islands and Okinawa. Okay, so we've got a bit of range with these boys, so that's good. So yeah, I'll ignore this. Keep focusing on what I'm doing. So JBD, round 7, 4 infantry, 2 artilleries, and a big some repairs. There's a lot of repair work going on this year in Russia. A lot of work on the complexes, which is fair enough. So yeah, 16 IPC gone to repairs, and then obviously the rest have been pretty much placed in the Caucasus, of which he's stacked as well. Combat move, blitz through Kazakh, so he just makes sense. I can't really take this actually this town as well, so that's probably a good move. Evenki, obviously moving up here, fair enough, and Ukraine. Ooh, interesting. Whoa, okay. What was in there previously? Ukraine. That's good for us. So just 1 infantry was left in Ukraine, which is obviously standard defense. So they both hit each other. So good for us. Give us the artillery piece to go for that. Cool. Good to know. So non-combat. So I've got to obviously block this submarine off now because I don't have to deal with this later. So yeah, we're going to try and take an Egypt this time. This is actually pretty awkward because actually, if I take Egypt and miraculously this infantry, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I don't think this bomber's just in range. Fortunately for us, because that could have been awkward. Because then he could have taken it. Yeah, America could have taken back on his turn, allowing the Russian sub through on the next round to take out probably a fair bit, but potentially. So yeah, that's awkward. Okay, we can really do with another destroyer just to be safe, but I'll play it risky. So that's that. Mobilization, as we said, fairly standard. So the Caucasus are stacked. I also need to obviously make sure I'm blockading Persia now, because I can't afford a blitz from the tanks with aerial support into India. I can't let this fall, so we'll have to do that this round. Germany, round 7, 2 tanks, 4 infantry, 3 artilleries. So we're trying to regain a bit of firepower with the tanks. Combat move, Karelia, retaken. This confused me when I first jumped on this morning. This confused me because it looks very similar to what the board was last round. It was pretty much the same. I think because the same things have happened. Obviously, Germany was sitting there with a force. Britain's retaken with, I think, very similar numbers actually. What was left over, and then obviously Matt's moving up through the Baltic. So it looks very similar. So it's pretty much a repeat of what happened last round essentially. 2 artilleries moved to West Russia, which they took, which is good for us. Destroyed 1 infantry, no losses in battle. What do we take from Prillo? Destroyed good. Okay, good trade for us as well there. Obviously we lost everything, but we can still retake that. Hopefully, yeah, we'll be able to retake this next round. Non-combat, we're still shoring things up. So this is a good defense of France. This is not by any means going to be easy to take for the Allies. I think it's probably going to require a combination of attacks, I would say. Because these 4 transports are still not ready to move fully, because there's only 3 sets of troops available. They could do a fair bit of attacking, I suppose. They'll have, yeah, not enough though, not enough to break, comfortably break this. They could probably take it if they wanted to. I think if Britain did an attack now, the next round rather, assuming it doesn't reinforce, you'd lose all the British troops, but you'd soften this definitely up enough for then America to swoop in and take it with troops available afterwards as well. I think that would be definitely the case, which would then mean obviously we'd be stretched between retaking France and then also reinforcing Credit, because we're still trying to move towards Russia. That's still the goal. So any troops we can't move that way, obviously it's going to be a hassle for Germany. Matt's hanging in there as well. I think he's done fairly well defending this situation because he is under a lot of pressure. So he's still hanging in with a decent amount of firepower. 61, he's not obviously storming ahead, but that's understandable given the pressure he's under. So he's hanging in there pretty well. He's leaving Germany defended at all times, which is good. Obviously he's made a real hassle for the Allies to take France. It's, as I said, it's going to take a combination attack to even deal with that, which is good for us. So, yeah, hang in there. It's just up to me, really, to try and keep pressuring Russia if I can. And obviously, yeah, deployed there. Britain, standard purchases, combat move. Obviously, Krella is taken back. Yeah, pretty much that's all that happened, really. Krella. Actually, what was the battle like? So destroyed 5 3 series and lost. Wow, good fight for Britain. That's what they did have some good bombardments and aerial support, I guess, which made that easier for them. And then obviously dropping off in the UK. So round 7 for us. Here we go. Now this round compared to the last round is going to be a lot easier for me. It's not the decisions to make I had to make last round. This round is very simple. Moving troops in position. It's a lot about mobilization this round for me. Just getting things ready. Prepping for, or just moving towards Russia. That's all it is really. So not too difficult. So we're going to go. I did think about putting tanks into India this round, but actually the way it's going to work this round, I want to be moving these infantry around the area, taking away certain provinces. So actually we're going to be left with nothing in India after this round, as in after this move. So I'm going to stick with infantry and artillery just for initially. Obviously I want those buffer troops, and I have various things moving around Africa as well, so we'll keep that pretty standard. We've got a Manchurian complex now as well, so 2 more infantry with their artillery, and the remainder here will just get obviously divided up into Japan, so I can ship in hopefully 3 loads of troops. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Pretty perfect. I'm happy with that. We could even probably actually let's get rid of one of the infantry and put their artillery there. Let's do that. Or in fact, actually, hang on. Can I squeeze this out? One thing I didn't mention. I'm going to start the bombing raids back again against Russia because obviously they've repaired a lot of things. So I need to start again pushing back the pressures. They've got 23 RPC to spend. I want to make sure that all of that doesn't go on troop production. I want to make sure that a lot of that goes to complex repair. So in order to do that, I think it's probably going to be, I would imagine 3 bombers to Moscow itself, and then possibly 1 to the Caucasus. And hopefully we get some good rolls. That's what I'm hoping. But in doing that, obviously I'm expecting at least a bomber loss there, so replenishing. If I can afford it, I'd like to be sending 1 bomber again, like we did in the earlier rounds. 1 bomber each round. We'll see. Obviously the situation with Matt as well. Matt's not in a position really to afford bombers each round. At the moment, the priority for him now is getting troops on the ground, making sure he's got enough to defend various places, Berlin, France, and also still having enough to push towards Russia. So bombs are not really in his price range right now, given the fact he's only got what 35. So that's a lot immediately gone to a bomber. So that's not really going to be an option. So it's going to rely on me now. It's going to be up to me now to try and maintain our plan of the bombers, the bomber squadron. That's going to be up to me. So if I do 1 bomber, we're going to get 5. So that's 4 here, one back in thing. So I'm going to have to probably take off... If I go for a few more infantry here. So we've got one artillery piece in either of in both Manchuria and India. 4 infantry. So we're only filling up 2 of these transports essentially. But there is spares. I'm just thinking actually, is there 4? If I take off 3 infantry here, that'd be 3 left plus. So there'll be 3 infantry and a tank. Ooh, 1, 2, 3. Ooh, okay, interesting. What I may need to do, I think it's not a problem. It's not a problem. I think what I'll have to do, I'll have to just combine the fleet in this season here, and then obviously just drop some or land some fighters into Japan to make sure, obviously, if he goes for an attack, which this bomber's in range, I've just noticed, that I've got adequate defense to make sure that doesn't fall. So that should be fine. So we'll go for this. Get another bomber. Why not? Okay, combat move, let's do it. So not a lot for me to do really this time. It's going to be shipping things around. So I'm going to take Egypt, sorry, to obviously prevent this sub coming through. And I'm also going to go... Actually, I can't reach this round, can I? Or I can, but it's awkward. Okay, fair enough. So I'll leave the battleship here, just in the off chance we do somehow lose Egypt and this sub can come through. So we've got a bit of defense against this summit if that does happen. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll see. So bombers, Caucasus, 3 on Russia, and I think for actually combat with us, that's probably going to be it. Again, we're just getting into place. We're going to obviously move these guys up here, move troops up this way, and then ship some more in. So yeah, it's just a sort of a reshuffle around this one, really. Nothing too crazy. Okay. Double checking I've not missed anything. It is still really tempting to go for an attack on Alaska, but they're positioned in such a way that I can't do that. They can defend that very easily, so I can't really justify that. Losing a transport at this stage. Okay, fingers crossed for the bombing raids. Come on, let's get some luck. Okay, good. Very nice on the Caucasus. Awesome. Good start. Okay, no losses in Russia. Come on. Be lucky, be lucky. Ah, shame. Although, actually, that very good hits back, though. To be fair, 10 IPC worth of damage is pretty good. We lost one as we expected. That's odds are, you know, favouring that, so that makes sense. But yeah, not too bad. Again, a hassle to deal with that. Minus 14 there, minus 5 there. So he has to do some repairs, at least. So that's good for us. Okay. Can I do much with this fighter yet? This fighter's a bit lost. It's not really doing much where it is. I think we're just going to use it for some support. There'll be an eventual attack against the Caucasus at some point, so we're supposed to be leaving it here for when that happens, I guess, is the idea. Right, so shipping things in, we're going to go for... Let's get our tank moving out. I want more tanks on the ground. Just ship you in here. Let's pull you back. 2 artilleries, 2 infantry, back to Yunnan. Move you lads up. All together, and then let's move you guys up as well. We'll reinforce the fleet. In fact, we could almost do the 1, 2, 3, 4. So the bomber can't reach my sea zone here, but the fighters obviously can. So I don't really need a lot here, to be fair. If I move 3 fighters back into Japan, I mean that's even that's. You wouldn't attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1 battleship destroyer, 2 and 2 carriers would not be a sensible attack. So I'm comfortable leaving all 4 fighters in Japan. In fact, let's just put another fighter there. The fighter's not being used here right now, so why not just shove it back onto the fleet? So the fleet's completely safe. Japan is completely safe. So yeah, we're looking good. That's fine for me. 1, 2, 3, yep. This transport is just safe. I just noticed this fighter here. 1, 2, 3, 4, just safe. It's just fine. It's just fine. Cool. So Egypt's retaken. We've blocked off the Suez Canal. We'll probably try and march things slowly. So I want to take, obviously, Transjordan this round, keep a blockade going in Persia, and we're going to obviously start shipping things in around Africa to try and take away all this IPC, because there's a lot of it here, and I want Britain to start starving, so that's the idea. Possibly a view to going to Brazil as well, if he doesn't notice. Although if they watch this video, they probably will know that. So we'll threaten a go against Brazil, because we could, yeah. 1, 2, yeah, it's going to take a few rounds to get in the position where we can take this, but losing this as the Americans is always so annoying, because you have to divert troops to take it. It's awkward to deal with. Obviously it's worth so much as well. 3 OPC is no joke at this stage, so if we could take that, would be fantastic. But yeah, looks alright. Double check. Yeah, I think we're good. Perfect. So bomber back in Japan. 1, 2, 1, 2. The remainder, and 1, 2. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm definitely glad about what happened, what I decided to do the previous round, as in obviously start moving troops up, because we are starting to think the pressure's coming back now against Russia. The bombing raids have started again, so they are. Next round again, we're going to be moving in as much as we can. I don't think we can probably blitz into Kazakh and take it back, but we won't have the strength yet to move in there, because there's still a decent amount of forces here for Russia to take this back. So possibly another round of moving things in, and then we go for a big sort of mass garrison of Kazakh. We'll see though. We'll see. It's going to be a fairly slow approach for me, but slow and steady. But we'll mass the troops carefully, make sure we don't open ourselves up to any big attacks from Russia. And obviously our job now is to stop taking away a lot of IPC. What's our economy like now? 45. Still the highest earner in the game so far, which is good. Strongest faction as well, power-wise. Which is good for us, obviously. So yeah. Anything I can do now to sort of keep Russia down and keep the British IPC down as well to give them out a better time is going to be a good thing. So once things are flowing nicely against Russia, I think once I've got Russia encircled, assuming that does happen, I think probably a good thing for me to do, I think I mentioned this before, but we'll be going back towards America and taking Alaska once I know things are secure over here. Right now I need to kind of defend the transports to make sure we get a good number of troops coming through. But once we've got control of this again, excuse me, I think the best option is going to be just try and take Alaska and start pulling away some resources from this side of things to give them a break. So yeah, if you can hang in there, we'll try and obviously save the situation a bit. But yeah, looking good. It's still a mixed bag. I think the Allies last round got definitely the upper hand back. I think this round we're sort of hanging in there, prepping things for future rounds. So I think we're definitely not out of this. It's still very, very close. I think we're still just behind, but again, we're not out of this completely. So I think yeah, I'm still positive for the win. We'll see. Anyway, there we go. That's round 7. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.